I am a professional today.
Professional. Professionalism. Uh, of course, because you're not wearing the ramen shark.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Yes, people say it's unprofessional. Do you know where the word pajama came from?
No.
Pajama originally came from Farsi or from Persian, which was borrowed into Hindi, then borrowed into English as pajama as we use it, which was then borrowed into French, which was then re-borrowed back into modern Persian as pajama, as a different spelling.
Hello, and welcome back to Archaeoscoop. I am here, and so is Michelle, and we are here to talk about news, are we not?
Specifically, news in archaeology, anthropology, history, and the multicultural sphere.
Yes. Oh, very nice. Nice. I like that. It's a nice summary. Yes. So this week, I do believe it's my turn to go first. And my first story of the week comes from Nation Cymru. It's a Welsh newspaper.
You have to say it all in Welsh, though, Marc.
Well, it's an English article.
Ugh, disgusting.
Yeah. News scheme to fund free school visits to local museums in Wales. This is by Emily Price. And she's discussing a new scheme funded by the Welsh government, the Senedd, will enable state-maintained schools in Wales to visit local museums for free. The Museums Visits Bursary scheme was launched by the Group for Education in Museums on Wednesday, the 1st of July.
I have a question.
Yeah?
Is the bursary for the school? Because my understanding is that national museums are free. So my question is the bursary for the children getting to the museum, or is the bursary for the museum to fund other programs that will bring children in?
That is a very good point. And specifically, they talk about how the bursary covers 100% of costs of visits.
Okay.
Therefore, so I think presumably that's going to be including travel, probably related to things like possibly food, essentially trying to remove, as they say here, financial barriers so that all children in Wales can benefit from cultural heritage. National museums in Wales, such as St Fagan's National Museum of History and the National Museum of Cardiff, offer free admission, but many Cadw sites as well. That's the Welsh version of English heritage. Cadw means keep, in that sense, keeping for the nation, such as Caerphilly Castle, require an admission fee to help cover the costs of maintenance and upkeep. The new scheme will allow schools in Wales to apply for bursaries of up to £1,000 to cover the entire cost of a museum visit, including transport, entrance fees, workshops, and staffing costs. The bursary requires no match funding from the schools or from the local authorities, making it easier for teachers to give their students the opportunity to explore Wales's rich history and culture. And it goes on to talk about how, for example, the Minister for Culture, Skills and Social Partnership, Jack Sargent, said, "Our local museums network is a fantastic resource for children to learn more about how the history of their local area fits into the story of Wales."
That's not a Welsh accent, Marc.
No, it's not. No. But this is something that is key to the focus of our curriculum. But financial barriers can often prevent schools from accessing these learning experiences. So we're providing funding to remove those obstacles. And I just think that's a great thing. I figured I'd point it out because it should be the case. I remember when I was in school, in high school in particular, whenever we tried to go somewhere, actually, funnily enough, it would very rarely be within Wales, actually. I think over the past 20 odd years, the shift has been towards looking local for history education. Whereas, for example, the main places that we went to were, if we went within Wales, it would be to places like Llyn Bala for like an outdoor experience, canoeing and this kind of thing, or it would be London. And you come back with
but wait, there are museums in Prestatyn.
Yeah, but in Prestatyn there's the it's not a very big thing, but it's the end of Offa's Dyke. There's like the heritage centre there. Chester is close by in England.
Mm-hmm.
That's a Roman city with medieval stuff going on as well. The nearest, obviously, the nearest history stuff is castles. So
Yeah.
for me, it would have been Flitterland. It would have been
Tintagel.
well, no, that's
I
at
mean,
the
technically
other end of the
that's
country.
lower, yeah. But
But
still,
Conwy, Caernarfon,
but
so on and so forth.
why would you? I guess London is the museum, but why
Yeah,
would you go to London over something like Tintagel? I mean, Tintagel is
I
it? I think it's closer.
I think the answer is
Oh yeah.
imperialism. Yeah, there's this idea, and it's also true actually in this part of England, in the northeast of England. For the most part, people have always tended to be encouraged, as it were, to look to the capital for their
What about
story.
Anglesey? I mean, Anglesey is it's
Yep, yep,
the last stand
yep.
of ancient
Druids and
history in
yeah,
Wales.
yeah,
Yeah,
all that sort of stuff.
exactly. I mean, Anglesey is full of history.
Yeah. I mean, also there's a slate mine museum that we went to, but again,
The mines. And the
yeah,
children long for the mines. Just let them go back.
give them a pasty, get them down the mine. But that's the thing, and also as well, actually, it's interesting having moved out of Wales and then going on to study archaeology. I then came to understand some of the rich prehistoric heritage that's in that part of the world as well. So, for example, not just the more famous recent mines, but also prehistoric mines. In Llandudno, there's a whole ancient copper mine that was there in the early Bronze Age. So it's a phenomenon, and I'm happy to see it's being addressed within Wales. And there's a lovely picture there of Caerphilly Castle as well, which is lovely because one of the towers is leaning, where I think a
Hmm.
cannon hit it, and it's almost coming away from itself. And the old joke is that you go to Caerphilly, and you have to be very careful around it.
Disgusting, Mark.
I know.
Anyway, we're moving on because I don't want Mark to make more terrible puns.
No.
My first story of the week. So we have some great mythology news.
Yeah.
We have a new Sumerian myth, and this one comes to us from. I mean, that Mark will put on the screen the actual fragment that the
Hmm.
article shows because you can see how amazing the cuneiform is. And this one comes to us from multiple sources, but it says study translates fragmentary ancient Sumerian myth around 4,400 years old. And the recent study by Dr. I believe she's Polish, so I think it's Jena Matuszak. I believe that's how it's pronounced.
Okay.
Published in the academic journal Iraq, examines the mythical narrative contained in tablet NI 12501, dating to the early dynastic period, which is circa 2540 to 2350 BCE from Nippur in Sumer. Despite the tablet having been excavated in the 19th century, comprehensive edition and analysis has thus never been published. This may be in part due to the tablet's fragmented nature, which provides as many answers as it does questions. Additionally, when it's chosen to adorn the dust jacket of a book by Samuel Noah Kramer in 1956, Kramer omitted its museum number, only
Okay.
providing it in a separate publication 5 years later. Great
So,
job, dude.
so it's like this.
Great.
This is pretty. Let's put it on the book. But
I mean, it does. It
yeah,
looks amazing.
mm,
Thanks for not telling anybody where you found it.
yeah.
Children, this is why citing sources
Mm,
is important.
mm,
NI 12501 was created around 2400 BCE in ancient Sumer. And the quotations, around 2400 BCE, Sumer consisted of politically autonomous city-states, though by the middle of the 24th century BCE, there were ultimately successful attempts at unifying them into a kingdom. City-states usually had one urban center as well as small settlements in the periphery. Each city-state had one patron deity,
okay.
who in turn had an entire family and staff. And in the case of Nippur, this was Enlil. And this is who we have to talk about today. But cities had various temples dedicated to other deities as well, despite their political autonomy. The city-states generally shared similar political and administrative practices, a
Hmm.
language, a writing system, and a belief system with local differences. Remember, kids, univocality, not
Mm,
always.
hmm.
For example, there would have been different dialects of Sumerian, but they only occasionally shine through the standard orthography. Also, there is evidence for a local panthea, But the big gods were venerated throughout Sumer for the specific piece for NI 12501. This means that it likely represents a Nipperite tradition. But if it was known outside Nippur, which we currently have no evidence for, there is no reason to believe that people would have contested in any way. Nippur and Abdab were neighbors, and their panthea were interlinked. The basic narrative of this piece is one in which the storm god Ishkur is held captive in the netherworld. Ishkur's father Enlil convened a deity assemblage, asking one of the other gods to retrieve Ishkur. However, only Fox volunteers to go. The story continues with Fox successfully entering the Kur, the underworld, by accepting food and drink offered to him, but hiding them in his receptacle instead of eating them. The tablet's narrative cuts off there, and it is unknown whether Fox successfully completes his objective. Dun, dun, dun.
Right.
So we'll have to.
Nice summary there.
The main protagonists are Enlil, Ishkur, and Fox. Enlil is the acting head of the Sumerian pantheon and is often referred to as the king of the gods, whose main sanctuary is in the city of Nippur, the city in which the tablet fragment was found. There you go. So we don't know. So we have a brand new myth. We do not know how it ends, though. And we will have to maybe somebody else has the second piece and also didn't label it. Kramer, you dunce.
Yeah.
And that's that. So, but now we have it.
But also, you can see why he used it as a cover. It's a beautiful image. Nice. Okay. Well, my second story of the week is linked with a fascinating discovery from Bronze Age Cyprus. This is a mysterious 4,000-year-old artifact from the Bronze Age in Cyprus that reveals deep cultural insights. The Vonus Bowl, a 4,000-year-old ceremonial artifact from the Bronze Age in Cyprus, is possibly connected to ancient rituals and social hierarchy.
Is it ritual, Mark?
Is it? We got to use it.
Yay!
Yeah, alert. So this is an interesting one because it's a bowl that I would like to see it filled up with something.
Actually, that bowl that you have a picture of, it looks like an ancient Polly Pocket.
Yeah, it does, doesn't it? Yeah,
It's
absolutely.
amazing.
Yeah,
I love it.
It's almost like a little sort of gathering of people, little miniature figurines in what could be their own contained little world. Yeah. Fascinating discovery from Bronze Age Cyprus. The Vonus Bowl continues to intrigue archaeologists due to its unusual content and possible ceremonial significance. Discovered in a tomb near Vonus Belapais, the bowl has been at the centre of discussions for decades. This ancient ceramic vessel, believed to date from approximately 2025 to 1850 BCE, houses intricate depictions of human figures, miniature cows, and structures that seem to reflect early social, spiritual beliefs.
It's a child's toy.
It's a child's toy. While actually that's the great thing, because like if someone grabbed
when you see this the artifact that Mark's talking about, yes, there's obviously it has to have some kind of significance, but it really does look like an ancient Polly Pocket, and who's to say that it wasn't? See, exactly.
So I've got a. This is a Mighty Max, not quite the same, but
the best one though.
Yeah,
the best one.
This is Mighty Max entering a sort of Frankenstein's lair. It's one of my favourites, and it sort of folds up into a skull. And
Sick.
But can you imagine someone sort of finding this and going, "It must be ritual"?
I mean, it's
Clearly.
a skull. It has to be ritual.
Yeah, it has to
be.
be.
Maybe you offered it as it's a depiction of your ancestors, Mark, from the 1980s.
Hey, could be. I mean, I also have a special edition Addams Family Polly Pocket as well.
Yeah, that one's amazing.
That is amazing. And so I wonder in that sense if someone took similar pride in this little scene in this bowl. They say here, while the specific purpose remains uncertain, Louis Steele, an archaeologist in the University of Wales, and what I've just said is actually a link. It's a live link to the paper where the abstract is viewable, has suggested that the bowl's symbolic nature points to its role in religious ceremonial functions. Again, this is sort of repeating itself, isn't it, a bit? An aspect emphasised by the increased use of symbols in funerary context during this period of rapid cultural innovation. A glimpse into the Bronze Age Cyprus, the mystery of the Venus Bowl. The Venus Bowl was uncovered during excavations in the 1930s. And a large prehistoric cemetery in Cyprus. This site, which had been looted in the past, yielded a remarkable array of decorated ceramics, of which the Venus Bowl was one of the most notable finds. It's researchers have speculated that it could represent a ritual offering. Alert once
Oh,
more. Possibly linked to burial customs or some form of commemorative feast. Regardless of its exact role, it serves as a testament to creativity and symbolic thinking of people who lived there.
It looks amazing. I still say it's a children's toy or some kind. Who's to say that it's not just a miniature?
Well, this is the thing. Who's to say it's not in that sense? Because it's an intricate little. It could. I mean, it could also represent. It doesn't have to be in a. Sorry, I'm thinking three things at once there. If you think about a similar thing that we might do today, we might have a photograph of a gathering, for example, like a wedding.
Mm-hmm. But that's ritual, Marc. Yeah.
Well, the thing, but the photograph, the commemoration of it, isn't necessarily ritual. It is special to you, though. So it could be something which is recording and which is a memorable moment in someone's life, which itself is a sort of mini personal ritual, perhaps. As Steele suggests, the Venus Bowl is just one example of an increased display of symbols within the funerary context. This speaks to a growing significance of ritual objects in the establishment of social status and collective identity.
Was it found in a grave?
In a graveyard, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I think because it's hinted that because of the looting, the context wasn't necessarily entirely secure, but it was there. Okay. The use of model figures to create a scene inside the bowl is particularly noteworthy because such detailed representations are rare in prehistoric Cypriot vessels, further highlighting the special status of the artifact. But also, as you say, highlighting that it could be a toy. It could be something which is just a special little, Mighty Max Polly Pocket for someone. And I love that. But also
similarly,
as well,
go ahead.
No, well, I was just saying, but also as well, there's this thing of you can also get soup bowls and cups today where a ceramic is sort of protruding from the base of the cup. So as you drink, perhaps a frog is revealed or something like that. And I know that on the side of this vessel, there's a doorway. So it's hard to fill this up with a liquid, but some sort of sand perhaps could sort of pass.
So what you're
through.
saying is a brand new piece of merch in the Archaeosoup shop. That's what you're saying. This is going to be.
I'm not. I might get Graham Taylor to take a look at this and see if he wants to have a crack at it. I'm not sure. I haven't got the funds to not only get the kiln but also fail repeatedly before it can go up in the shop. But yeah, cool little thing, and also we got to premiere the alert. Yeah.
Speaking of similar things, we have a Roman fanny pack. Oh,
ooh.
Yeah. A rare. This one comes to us from.
Sorry.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
A North American usage of the word fanny, not UK usage of the word fanny.
No.
But Marc will now put in some chewing the fat thing of them going, a swatch of your fanny.
Should we paw one?
He's wanting a scratch your fanny.
You can't call her Fanny.
So, what are we going to call her?
Fanny. I want to call her Fanny.
We can't call her Fanny. Fanny, I like it. It's unusual, unique.
My mum's a fanny. Granny was a fanny. She'll be joining a long line of fannies.
Aye, it's good to keep up tradition.
Oh, Fanny, you're just like your daddy.
But this one comes to us from Archaeology magazine. This a rare 1,800-year-old Roman soldier's wrist purse. So not necessarily a fanny pack.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
Unearthed in the Czech Republic reveals life on the empire's frontier. Archaeologists in the Czech Republic uncovered a rare Roman military discovery, a fragment of a bronze wrist purse that is the oldest such discovery ever made in the Czech Republic. They discover it on Hradecko Hill in January of 2025, and it dates to more than 1,800 years old, offering a glimpse into the Roman soldiers' private and logistical lives in the empire's outer frontier. The purse fragment was unearthed at the site of a temporary Roman military camp once occupied by the 10th Legion. Although around 30% of the original item has survived, experts instantly identified it that of a Roman warrior's forearm purse. So it went on this portion. Small tension-secured money pouch worn around the left arm to leave the right hand free for combat. The discovery. So this way you can put your snacks in there while you're fighting.
Yeah.
The discovery is significant because it was made outside the formal borders of the Roman Empire, a territory once considered to be hostile. Although no coins were discovered inside the purse, no snacks either, archaeologists unearthed a substantial number of silver Roman coins nearby. The coins, mainly from Emperor Marcus Aurelius's reign and bearing images of the emperor of his first wife, Faustina, enabled researchers to date the artifact between 172 and 180 CE.
Okay.
The purse is estimated by experts to have held up to 50 denarii silver. I wonder how many Cheetos that is. A decent sum, but less than the annual pay of a common legionnaire. So I will just ask you this question, Marc. Were Romans paid in salt?
Yeah, of course they were.
Marc's just gonna put my face going, no. That was made up.
No.
They were not. No. And we could talk about that another time and how that misconception happened. But this suggests that the owner was a junior officer of someone responsible for the operating funds of the unit, often referred to as service cash for rations, equipment, and other logistical needs.
Yeah.
The border historical context gives the discovery additional significance. The Roman 10th Legion was stationed in Hradecko Hill during Marcus Aurelius's campaign against the Germanic Marcomanni and other such tribes. And the emperor had planned to make the region a new Roman province called Marcomania. Would have been great. Would have been a great name for you, Marc.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Stretching from the Danube into what is now northern Moravia. There you go.
Also, crucially, putting pay to the nonsense notion that that Teutoburg Forest scared the Romans so badly that they never tried to cross the Danube ever again.
Yeah. I love that actually. So Tristan from the Ancients, his program is wonderful. But he's an ancient historian, and he has a wonderful shirt that says Teutoburg Forest, and then it has 5 stars, and the it says 1 star, do not recommend. It's great. I love that shirt so much. Fantastic. So good.
Yeah. I do believe because it was the year 9, I think, CE. But I know that it happened on my birthday. The massacre did.
And you could have had Marcomania.
I know, Marc could have had Marcomania. It's interesting as well because you talk about salary and pay and rations and things. And one of my favourite little sort of factoids that I've learned while visiting an archaeological site here on Hadrian's Wall was the archaeologist doing the dig, running the dig, was whenever a visiting archaeologists turn up, it's almost like it's often expected that the person running it will drop everything they're doing and just show you round. Yeah. I didn't ask for this, but it happened, and then because it does. That's what I mean. It happens all the time, and this is one of the reasons why the person running the dig often doesn't actually get to do much digging, because people with tweed jackets are always turning up and go, "Oh, so I gather that you're excavating, right?" And it's like, and you're just there like, "I would be fucking excavating if you'd let me." But so I turned up and I was having a look, and and he ended up showing me around. He's like, "Oh, Archaeosoup," and he was talking about how they'd found an area which was probably a sort of a food preparation area, and he described something that just stuck in my head. He talked about how every Roman soldier on the site probably had a daily access to a ration of meat, which he described as a cube. So I just imagined like a cow just being turned into a perfect series of squares, like something out of Minecraft or something, and everyone just getting these little cubes. Then I find myself thinking, I wonder
The
if they
Minecraft Roman expansion.
yeah, I wonder if they were
980.
disappointed. You know, if there was someone who was a bit neurodivergent in as a centurion, just going, "This is not a cube. This is a rectangle. This is this is rectilinear, but it's not cuboid." So it's but the combination of ways in which people were remunerated for service was not wholly wrapped up in salt. Because frankly, I mean, what can you imagine having if you had your salt in your pouch and you get sweaty or it rains? It just
you're done.
It just goes away.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Of course they were paid in money. Of course they were paid
Yeah.
in money.
Well,
Are you
but-
kidding me? You'd really get mercenaries with no.
No, but also it's also one of those weird things as well, isn't it? Where the sort of the ritual of visiting a Roman site often revolves around, here is the gatehouse, here are the towers, open up the church, and
Here come the flowers.
yeah, here come the flowers. Yeah. But also crucially, in the middle of the site, they always point out this is where the company standard was, and this is where the money was kept. This is where the funds for the unit was kept. And also, if funds were late, if something was delayed, people would get arsey because they couldn't buy food in the local vicar.
Exactly.
So it's and again, local people aren't going to be accepting salt or the promise of salt tomorrow. So it's interesting how it's just one of those myths that people somehow manage to hold in part of their Roman visitor's brain and completely ignore what they've just seen on the information board in front of them. Yeah,
It certainly might have been part of the rations, but it was not all they were paid in. Absolutely not. It's a very long-standing linguistic myth that I think came from Pliny the Elder. He got it from somebody else, where he assumed that Romans were paid in salt.
So Pliny the Elder was like me messaging you at like midnight. Going, what about these two words? Are they connected? Are they connected? And you go, no, they're not connected.
Well, you just asked me about grubby and grubby, and I said, well, grubby, no, because that's a much later word, and grubby might have come from grebe or greebles, which is like dirt or detritus or pieces of fluff and things like that.
Yeah, yeah. But he wrote it down, and now who's the idiot? Uh-huh.
We could get Pliny the Elder on lots of things, like his whole his.
I thought you were going to say we could get him on next week.
You want to do a whole series about Pliny the Elder and some of the things that he said, especially
I'm not sure
like
he
his
can
whole.
he can turn up and defend himself.
Just phone the necromancer. They'll show up.
What else did he do? What else? Did he say?
Him talking about druidic rituals. That would be
okay.
He did tell us about the one. Do we know if it's true? No idea. I mean, he said that, the Druids, when they found mistletoe on a sacred oak, which was rare because mistletoe is a parasitic plant. Again, nothing to do with winter, nothing to do with Christmas. That is all invented. It's all modern, much later. Yep. No, the only thing that Pliny the Elder ever said about Druids and mistletoe is that when they found it on a sacred oak, that the 6th day after the next full moon, Druids would get very happy about it, and that they took a golden sickle, and there was a ritual, and they would cut it, and then they would use it for healing purposes. That's it. That's all he ever said. But what was he right? We don't know. He actually never used the word druid either. So I'd love to ask him, like him and Bede. Can I ask you some questions, my guy? Why did you choose not to elaborate on certain things? Yeah. Are you sure what you saw was really what you saw? Why didn't you ask them any questions? Why didn't you just ask them what they were doing? Yeah. And that's all we have to go on. Thanks, dude. Thanks.
I don't blame them though. I mean, it's not like they thought that
no,
they
were trying.
Be the only
I
person.
understand that. This is why I don't really get mad at Bede or Beda, however you want to pronounce it. But because they were trying. It's like, I'd love to wring Bede's neck over, like, why didn't you tell us more about Easter? Why did you tell us half a sentence that may or may not have been true? And now everybody just makes up crap about it. Why couldn't you have been just a little bit more articulate, please? Yep. Please.
The historic county flag of Northumberland, which technically we are within today in North Tyneside, in the historic county, so north of the Tyne, is based, I do believe, on a single description of a funerary banner for someone at Bamborough, sort of red and yellow colours. But the reason for it, the specifics of the design, very vague. And I suppose it's interesting because, obviously in this, in this series, we're talking about reporting and news and reportage. Do you think that if they're missing out on those details, what do you think were the priorities of writers in ancient times?
Well, they all had their own political motives. They were all, so for example, I mean, Bede was in a very specific place at a very specific time. He wrote about very specific things. And we know that there were people he did not like. And so he did write, there is a bit of nationalism going on, but so is there for Gildas, so is there for a lot of early medieval writers, where they had their own biases, just like other writers. I mean, we could talk about later writers like Gibbon, whom we all want to choke.
Yeah. Or the Victorians, frankly.
Okay. And again, they all had their own biases. They all made up stuff. Some of them were trying. Some of them were really trying. Like I think Sir Fraser was really trying, but he made mistakes, and we have to live with them. And but in his case, I really do believe he was trying. Lady Raglan was not trying. She was just making up stuff. Same thing with Robert Graves, who is another one I would love to. But they made up stuff that we now have to clean up, and it's really rough. It's really hard. Some of them I don't blame, like the early medieval writers. I don't blame. Obviously there were some that were taking part in propaganda. I mean, some of the Roman writers even as well, like Cassius Dio and Tacitus. So they talk about the cuculati, the hooded ones who were standing on the shores of England and whispering curses. That is a third-hand account. I don't know why they wrote that down, but could you have told us a little bit more about them? Were they druids? Were they just wailing women? Were they what were they?
It's the rule of cool, man.
Yeah, they were
cool. It's a cool story. But also, I have to say, one thing that I think I would love to do, if I ever got a chance to be in the same room as you, would be to film with a little camera behind a little doll of like Raglan or someone, and just have this giant of you just come in and then start ragging on the Raglan, just ish.
Yeah, cue like what's it called? Not Carmina Burana, but like yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And people are just like, she's already dead.
Just stop. She's already dead.
He's stealing all the burgers. Why, you little? I got you. Yo.
It's all just an act.
Stop! He's already dead.
Yeah, it'd be fantastic.
We do have a special story this week. Mark, did you do all your stories?
Yep, all done.
Oh. So I put this in because this is a brand new thing, and this came via the person who made the discovery.
Oh.
So this is very special. This comes to us from Dr. Seb Falk, who wrote a wonderful book called The Light Ages, all about how there were no Dark Ages. Petrarch, another one I would... about the Song of Wade, decoding a long-lost English legend, solving a Chaucerian mystery, and revealing a medieval preacher's meme. A medieval literary puzzle to stump scholars, including M.R. James, for 130 years, has finally been solved. Cambridge scholars now believe that the Song of Wade, a long-lost treasure of English culture, was a chivalric romance, not a monster-filled epic. The discovery solves the most famous mystery in Chaucer's writings and provides rare evidence of a medieval preacher referencing pop culture in a sermon. The breakthrough, detailed in the Review of English Studies, involved working out that the manuscript refers to wolves, not elves.
Right.
As scholars previously assumed. Dr. James Wade and Dr. Seb Falk, who was the one who posted this, colleagues at College Cambridge, argue that the precious literary fragment first discovered by M.R. James in Cambridge in 1896 has been radically misunderstood for the last 130 years. Changing elves to wolves makes a massive difference. It shifts this legend away from monsters and giants into human battles and chivalric rivals. Dr. Seb Falk is back at Cambridge University Library with James Wade. The research partners, fellow medieval sleuths, are happily skimming through a document which they have wrestled with for years. It wasn't clear why Chaucer mentioned Wade in the context of courtly intrigue, Wade says. Our discovery makes much more sense. Here we have two 12th century sermon deploying a meme from the hit romantic story of the day, Dr. Seb Falk says. This is a very early evidence of a preacher weaving pop culture into a sermon to keep his audience hooked. Many church leaders, which they still do. YOLO kids. Many church leaders worried about the themes of chivalric romances, adultery, bloodshed, and other scandalous topics. Ooh, scandal. So it's surprising to see a preacher dropping such adult content into a sermon, Wade explains. For the first time, researchers have identified the great late medieval writer Alexander Neckham as the most likely author of the, of the specific sermon. I'm not going to attempt to read this in the medieval Latin. The 800-year-old document is part of MS 255, a Peterhouse Cambridge collection of medieval sermons. In 1896, M.R. James was looking through Latin sermons in Peterhouse Print Library in Cambridge when he was surprised to find passages written in English. He consulted another Cambridge scholar, and together they announced that these were the verses from the lost 12th century romantic poem, which they called the Song of Wade. M.R. James promised further comment, but this never came. Nearly 130 years passed with no new evidence coming to light. Several scholars have attempted to work out the meaning of the sermon's Wade quotation and speculated on what the full legend might have been like. Lots of very smart people have torn their hair out over the spelling, punctuation, literal translation, meaning, and context of just a few lines of text.
Okay.
Researchers argue that 3 words have been misread by scholars because of misleading errors made by a scribe. This is why it's important to write things down, children. Made by a scribe who transcribed the sermon. Most problematically, the letters Y and W became muddled. Correcting these and other errors transforms the translated text from, this is the original text, some are elves and some are adders. Some are sprites that dwell by waters, or watters. There is no man, but Hildebrand only. The new translation is, thus they can say with Wade, some are wolves, some are adders, some are sea snakes that dwell by waters. There is no man at all but Hildebrand. That is the new translation. Hildebrand was Wade's supposed father, while some folk legends and epics refer to Hildebrand as a giant. If the Wade legend was a chivalric romance, as the study argues, Hildebrand is probably understood to be a normal man.
Okay. It's also, I should say that this cam.act.uk feature on this does a really good job of, just after the bit that you were quoting, of doing a zoom in on words as you scroll down. It sort of literally shows you and highlights beautifully.
It shows you the beautiful, the inscribed text, which Marc will put on screen so you can try to translate it yourself.
Exactly. No, that's really cool. And also, as you say, it's absolutely something which youth pastors and others are guilty of today. And no, lovely. I wonder. Do you think then that the presumption of elves reveals possibly a sort of a bias in initial readers' minds in that sense? They were looking for a more fantastical tale.
Well, it says that I think so, because it does say that the person who wrote it down was listening to the scribe, so he wrote it down. So it, like I said, it could be that his handwriting was very good. Maybe he transcribed it incorrectly. Remember that when we're talking about tales that are being transcribed, you're, again, as we talked about earlier, you're at the mercy of the author, the person who's writing it down, and you're trusting that they're writing something that is true. And in this case, it seems like it was just a little spelling mistake.
So you're saying we can ascribe blame?
I knew you were going to go for that. Good night, Marc. Goodbye. Bye, everybody. It was a great week. Amazing.
Thank you so much
outta
for
here.
watching. Thank you
Bye.
so much for watching, everyone at home. Until next time, do take care. Bye bye.